For reaction in Washington, David Tafuri, a former State Department official, and Cliff May from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. I'm going to start with you, David. So Bashar al-Assad says not only does he not have chemical weapons, all those images we've seen that probably inspired, Donald Trump said it inspired his Tomahawk missile strike, he said those were all fabricated by us.
Your skepticism is accurate. You know, the only thing I disagree with you about is that this is stunning. This is how Assad operates. He's in denial. He's a liar. He's a war criminal. Many opportunities to leave Syria, and he probably never will let go, and he'll end up in a ditch like Saddam Hussein or like Gaddafi. But the missile strikes last week were really important because they sent a signal that the U.S. is no longer going to look the other way when he engages in mass atrocities against civilians. That's important. But make no mistake, this is not going to be an easy effort. And just one set of missile strikes isn't going to change the dynamic completely. It sends a message. It puts military options back on the table, which is what was missing from the negotiations. We now need to get back to the negotiation table with the military option as a leverage to get Syria and Assad to do more.
Where have you been all these years? I remember having arguments with you when Barack Obama was president about I was taking that side of the story. Cliff,
no, I've always, in 2013, I thought Barack Obama should have done missile strikes against Assad just like Trump did. That was a mistake.
Might have saved us a lot of time, money, and
fully agree.
And death. Cliff, did Donald Trump do the right thing by sending those Tomahawk missiles into Syria?
Oh, absolutely. He did a number of things. He began, I would say, to reestablish strategic deterrence in the world. Very important that not just Assad, but Iran, the North Koreans, others understand that America not only has power, but it has the determination and the will to use it in its best interest at various times. Also, President Trump was enforcing international law. A lot of times it's hard to say what international law is. This is not one of those cases. The use of chemical weapons by Assad violates the Chemical Weapons Convention, which Assad subscribed to, as well as the deal he
Cliff, let me play a little devil's advocate here. So is bombing schools and hospitals with conventional weapons as well. So, I mean, if you know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. There are people who say, well, if you're going to use that red line, why all the red lines that are already pre-established?
One reason is because this red line, the use of certain weapons that have been banned and that Syria agreed would be banned, agreed they wouldn't use, a claim they had given up. This is such a clear red line that if you don't enforce it, you're really saying it's just the law of the jungle, which is what we've seen in Syria and a lot of the Middle East over recent years. No laws whatsoever, no rules whatsoever. Either the U.S. enforces some rules in the world, or there are no rules, because there's no international community to do it. The U.S. does it, or no one does it.
Where the heck, you bring up a good point, Cliff. David, where the heck is the UN? Where's the UN in all of this?
Well, you know, I wrote an article about this week. You can justify this missile attack based on the UN doctrine, responsibility to protect, but the UN was missing on this. The UN has not been able to pass a resolution through the Security Council authorizing the use of force. The reason is because Russia has blocked every single Security Council resolution related to Syria. That's why, unfortunately, the U.S. had to act on its own, which is controversial under international law, but in my view, it is justified because no one else would take action, and we, as a country, and all countries, have a responsibility to protect innocent civilians when mass atrocities have been happening, as they have been for the last 6+ years, resulting in 500,000 deaths.
All right, very quickly, both of you. I'll start with you, David. 2 strikes in 2 weeks. Who is the recipient of the message, the strongest recipient of that message, David?
Assad #1, Russia #2.
What do you say, Cliff?
I would say North Korea and Iran, most importantly, although it's a message to all our adversaries, all our enemies, and to our allies as well, that we're back in the game, that it's no longer what the world is no longer what it's been for the past 8 years.
You know what you guys left out, both of you?
Yeah.
Russia and China. I mean, some would say potentially the 2 biggest threats. Right. Well, okay, you said Assad. I didn't hear you say Russia in the second one. One quick final thought. What is the U.S. relationship with Russia going forward, Cliff?
Well, it's going to be a complex one. Look, Putin has very big ambitions. Putin is the kind of guy who sees you either as a panther or a poodle. He either sees you as a slave or a master. Now, it's possible that now that he sees, and hopefully he sees, that Trump is not simply going to roll over for him, he'll be more willing to have realistic discussions. He wants to have a warm water port in Syria and Tartus, no question about that. Can he keep that? I don't know. But his support for Iran, whose rallying cry is death to America, his support for Assad, part of the Iranian empire, he needs to change on that. I think that Trump is going to be tough with him.
Let me get David in here. As Cliff points out, has Putin now turned from poodle to panther regarding Donald Trump?
We don't know what Putin is going to do. I can assure you he didn't like these missile strikes, and he's probably worried about what the U.S. is going to do next in Syria. But he is strong in Syria. He has a lot of military forces on the ground. He's made a significant impact in pushing back the moderate rebels that we support. We don't know what his next chess move is going to be, but it's essential that we get him to stand down and get Assad to step down.
There were a lot of people who said under Barack Obama this country's become a paper tiger. I would say that's no longer the case. David, Cliff, thank you very much. Plenty more ahead as the Factor moves.